road to Pyeongchang starts here. Winter has arrived in the Adirondack National Park. We're in Lake Placid, New York, at the heart of American bobsled and skeleton sliding. Good morning, everybody. Welcome wherever you are joining us for the opening run in the Men's Skeleton World Cup. I'm Martin Haven. Alongside me is Lake Placid resident and our sliding guru, John Morgan. John, this Lake Placid track has had its problems with the weather, but it is still going to be a huge challenge for all the sliders here today.
Well, winter has arrived in the Adirondacks, and what the athletes have been training on all week, a soft ice track, rained out on Sunday night, no training Monday, and then they had to come out and see a new sculpture track. Well, overnight, temperature dropped 15 degrees. We have snow on the ground for the first time in Lake Placid. Sung Bin Young, the famous Korean athletes, got the start record up here, and this is where you have to be quiet with your steering up here in Cliffside. Exit of 2, now you're into 3. 4 is called the white face curve. Look at the G-forces forcing the athlete's chin down on the ice. That scratching you hear is when that contact between the helmet and the ice happens, which is a lot on this track. Now in the white face, big 3.5, 4 Gs for the athletes down in the labyrinths. They're only going about 74 miles an hour. Their chin inches off the ice. Straightaway here, the chicane, it's not a straightaway. 4 Gs of force into this heart curve. Now this 18-19, this is going to be another challenge for the athletes, but this launch of themselves uphill before the finish line right there, we've seen a lot of people win and lose that race in the last 50 meters on the exit of that curve 19.
Yeah, 18-19 is a really difficult transition this year because the ice has been so difficult to keep on in the late summer weather that's been here right up until last night. And that has produced a lot of challenges, so much so that even the local experts are finding it really tricky. Well, yesterday afternoon it was +2 or 3, as you can see, 8-degree drop and more, and the temperature is due to drop during the day. Ice yesterday was -2, it's -7 already, so it was a very bitter overnight, about an inch and a half of snow as well, so the winter arrived with a bang yesterday. Now our skeleton field is deep in terms of talent and numbers. We have 31 athletes, which means that 11 will not make a second heat. So more than 1 in 3 of the guys who are watching warming up at the moment will not get through into the second heat. Expect that man to get through, Alexander Tretyakov. And he is one of the fastest starters and best sliders on the planet, former world champion and the Olympic champion, but he will be he'll be in with the place. There'll be lots that won't. USA's Greg West, who was in here yesterday calling the women's race, is first off, and his teammate Matt Antoine will also have a good shot at perhaps claiming a medal here. Further down you'll see one of our real favourites, Martins Dukurs of Latvia, and there John Daly starts 21st. He and everybody else outside the top 20 start draw have a big deal on their hands to try and get into the race. Opening round of the Men's Skeleton World Cup. Greg West gets the season underway for Men's Skeleton and the USA here in Lake Placid.
Well, he's telling us yesterday this is his real World Cup debut, but he did have a couple of races a couple of years ago when John Daly was disqualified from an event because of no bib. It's another whole story. And he had to fill in because Daly had to go do double points on the America's Cup Tour. So, but he says this is really his World Cup debut. Won the U.S. test races out in Calgary. I think surprised a few people and earned his spot onto the World Cup team. It's not the Olympic team yet, but needless to say, this is great to see Greg West. He's put a lot of time in and did a great job doing the commentary.
Yeah, calls a great race, and hopefully he's having a decent run as well. One hit through the chicane, 117 kilometers an hour. That's a decent speed there, 72 miles an hour, and accelerating fast all the way through the heart and across the line. Again, avoids that clip on the wall on the inside out of 19. There's Coach Tuffy Latour. Everybody with an extra layer of clothing on today. The weather is so much colder, and the ice is going to -7. They've not had -7 ice here at all since the track opened in October, so it's an entirely different ball game.
How far he comes up, he didn't get all the way up, so the track's a 1.5 seconds slower, plus from the track record, and Greg, first guy down, and you know there's people probably watching it because what kind of grip they got on the ice. This is totally different conditions than they've seen all week, all month, or since the track's open in early October. And the start area is a lot slower as well. He was pushing 5:01s here. He's done a 5:10 this morning. So what about Jung Yong Kim of Korea? Richard Bromley, the sled builder. He and brother Kristen build these Bromley Tech sleds. He's also coaching the Korean sliders. Well, Kim is very much the number 2 or 3 of the Korean team. Hansin Lee was their number 2 guy last year behind Sungri Young, who won in Whistler and took a bronze medal here last season. So Kim on the results from last year. No, so this is his World Cup debut. Well, 1700s advantage right away on Greg West because he had a 1500s better start. So this guy is an athlete. Yep. 8 though, there. He's a time back. And there's the difference between a guy who really knows the track well and a guy who doesn't. Again, truncated training time this season, this week. A little bit of snow flurrying in. Yeah, he's a kilometer down to Greg West time. So this is where home track is. Oh, now that's going to be real problems. That is going to lose a half second of time, and it all fell apart. Wow. Well, he's not too bad for only 10 hundredths down. Yeah. For a first slide down here in competition. Crush out of 16, 17. Look where he's another 20 yards down from where Greg West finished. That had to hurt. The ice is much colder. I would imagine it's pretty frosty after the overnight low. Watch this crash into the wall. Bang! Oh. That is hard. Throws him off his sled in 17-18, which is a meticulous challenge anyways. And look at Richard. Yeah. Oh, wow. That cost him 20 hundredths. That was a big hit. He'll be black and blue after that, but he looks pretty happy with his run. Tony Carlino in the red cap. Yeah, what a busy man he is this week, this month. Australian John Farrow, final season for him. He's already a dad with a new life and a new career beckoning beyond the Olympic Games, but the first target for him, like everyone else, is to qualify to get to Pyeongchang. 5:27 getaway. We've documented over the years John's recovery from a couple of really horrific leg injuries. Mountain biking injuries, right? Yeah, he was a downhill mountain bike champion and then had a couple of sprinting injuries that really set him back. Looks a little heavier than I saw him in the past. I mean, not a negative way, just looked like maybe he's just matured. Put on some mass. Again, that happens when you can train in the summer. You can put on the muscle mass, and that really helps. He couldn't train the last 2 years with those injuries from the mountain biking wacko sport that he's involved in. Well, this is not a wacko sport, right? Yeah, no, this is closing the gap down. There's 3200s back, 2800s back, and 400s back at the line. Considering his start time was 1700s worse than Greg West, that's impressive for John Farrow. Okay, well, bottom end of the track really starting to come alive now. I wonder if Greg West, as our first crash test dummy down the track, just got some frosty conditions, or whether the runners that he chose haven't suited the track. Wow, that's really impressive. Yeah. Speed on the bottom, but he's got 5-6 years of sliding. Came back from 3200s back. There's the finish line, right at that Omega clap. 3200s back halfway down, get a little soon, man. And 400s back at the line. Is he German? That's a German way of sliding. Yeah. Well, you can see up at the start area in the covered tent, just behind the line. Riek Graf there with the red hat on. He'll be going next. And his coach helping with the sled, Tyler Speederman. Now a little bit of a track hold. Workers going down with the snow blowers. There is no snow falling. Yeah, this is strange. Usually they run things at 2 minutes a sled, so he wasn't ready to go, so there's a delay here. Yeah. I don't know where the delay would be. Daniel Schlachter on the right there in the black outfit. That's the head of the IBSF jury for the skeleton. Riek Graf claiming that he is 6'2". They're sweeping after every 3 sleds. I didn't really realize that there's snow in. Well, there's a tiny little bit flurrying in off the surroundings. Well, that's going to make this a long heat with 31 sleds.
Rietgraf claims to be about 6'2". I'm 6'6", and I look up at him and just laugh. Son, he's got about another 4 inches of hair as well. Colours of Greibenden, the Swiss canton in which you find Samoritz on his helmet. And his clock is ticking down. He's only got 8 seconds left to start. What's going on with this? Okay, now they're resetting the clock, or are they? Yeah. So, jury, the clock. Yeah. Okay, so the 30-second start timer goes underway now. And the extraordinary lanky figure of Rietgraf from Switzerland, fourth of our 31 sliders here in the first race of the Men's Skeleton World Cup.
Tall, like you say, a lot of good energy, but the start, 23, third best start. The Swiss, who used to have the best starts in the sport of skeleton and bobsledding, don't have them anymore. You can't start the sled. I mean, it doesn't mean as much on this track as we just saw with John Farrow. He was 1,700s behind at the start, only 4 at the bottom to an American who knows the track well. But when you get to some of these easier tracks, like the one next week in Park City, where the start is your best friend.
Oh, big height.
So there's not too many corners like that in Park City.
No. Big height in corner 12.
Park City's just a different challenge, just a different mindset for the athletes than here.
Well, quite a few of the skeleton sliders were in Whistler last week doing one of the lower tier circuit races, and coming here from there, you have to get used to a very different steering input and very different speeds as well. You can see up in the finish area and the start area there is snow in the air. So,
well, the track is covered. Like this finish straightaway never was covered 2 years ago. Now they've got it totally covered. The start area is covered. There's no place on the track. Now the wind and the snow still blowing in the track. Here's 11-12 combination, and not the way you want to be looking at the next curve. And then coming over here and his back toes hit. I mean, he slid out there pretty good.
Yeah.
6'5".
Well, he's not. He's 6'7" and change, definitely. One of the two Timmings twin brothers, Nick, is here as well, representing Australia.
Got some old start shoes on there. Those are at least 12 years old.
Well, it's make do amend in the Aussie camp. You get what you can and make the best of what you can find.
They still work.
Absolutely, and 5:07, that's a decent getaway. Start record here is 4:70 from Sumbing Young, and actually with the really low temperature of the start ice, I'm not sure we're going to get even close to that.
No, I think we're probably getting into the 90s, maybe the high 80s. But
air was a lot warmer yesterday, John, which is why Yelena Nikitina was able to go and just destroy the start record. Women's start record is now 5.03 seconds.
So you mean to tell me that her start time of 5:03 would be the best start in the field today so
far? Well, her first start was a 5:07, which is what Nick Timmings has just done, and then she lowered it again to 5:03. But again, you know, warmer air temperature, the ice isn't so frosty, and it's just a little faster at the start. Good slide from Nick Timmings, but still 6,400s back. Now, that didn't look like a slide that was going to be that slow.
He's not that experienced of a slider. It's a decent time down the track, and whether or not he's going to make the top 20. It's a field of 31, and that's a lot of athletes in the field.
Yeah.
He's going to have to bypass 10 more because he did get Rietgraf. I said, you know, I would say he's going to be right on the bubble here.
Yeah. You see the curve in the runners. They're not flat to the ice. They're bowed like a rocking chair. And on the colder ice, you can have a smaller contact patch because it doesn't dig in so much, but that gives you a little less control. Nick may have just been a little conservative. Greg West is our leader. 5 of 31 sleds down in the first heat of the men's skeleton race here in Lake Placid. Greg West, the USA, is our race leader as Matt Antoine comes to the ice. Now, he is the track record holder. Set the record in March 2015, 53.13 seconds. We are 1.5 seconds away from Matt so far with our fastest time. What can Antoine do?
Probably the athlete in the field who's been down the track more than anybody else. A third and a second to open up the season last year in Whistler and Lake Placid, but after that, never got on the podium. Including a 10th place finish at the Pyeongchang Olympic test in March.
I was chatting to him a couple of days ago in training, and he said coming in this year he feels as fit as he ever has, and most critically faster than he has done in about 5 years in the start area.
Well, a Wisconsin guy who now makes his home in sunny Arizona.
Yeah, I was talking to him, but he's been doing lots of home improvements on the house as well. And his dog spends the summer in Arizona, the winter in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin with Matt's mum and dad. So a proper dual life for him and for the dog. 5,500 up, that's a very good run.
There you go.
But again, that is 4 tenths away from his fastest trip down this track. So the frosty cold of -7 ice into the second heat.
Second and 3 tenths away.
You're right. Into the second heat, we might well see that the track gets slicker and faster. Matt Antoine looking a little perplexed.
It's cold. It's cold. It's sticky. I mean, there's 141 sleds came down the track yesterday. So we're going to have 51 and then another. So we're only going to have 100 down today. Yeah. Start. Look at the lines through chicane. He doesn't get over to the right side where there's a jump. That's as good as anybody's come through there. Might have a lot to do why he's plus 55 compared to anybody else. And you could including his teammate Greg West. That's a big time. Half second on the lead on Greg West.
You could see how relaxed he was coming here through the chicane. His body was level. The sled was just chattering up and down underneath him. He was completely okay with that. He had no problems at all. And this is one of the few areas where there may be a little bit of snow ingress through the chicane. And here is one of our fastest men in the sport. He is our start record holder, Korea's Sunbin Yun.
Well, I think this might be a good barometer right here.
Yeah.
I think Antoine's time was great, but I think this guy, from what we saw in training, he could.
Well, he'll be in the 4s. How far he goes down?
495.
Let's take a look. The Ironman helmet, 481. So only 11 hundredths away from his all-time start record. That is an excellent getaway.
Ironman.
So the game is on for Sunbin Yun.
Now, will he think about, I don't want to win all these races in November, December. I want to peak in February. Like we saw at the German bobsled camp last night, even though one of the Germans won, but that was the Germany number 3 rank. 5,400s lead on Matt Antoine.
Yeah, and a lot of that coming off that rocket ship start.
112.4, so that's great speed too.
69.8, 73.8. That's half a mile an hour quicker than Matt Antoine at that spot.
This is a wake-up call for everybody in the field.
Yeah.
The
gap is widening.
Wow.
Oh, back down to 5,800.
6. So he's now only 63 hundredths off the record.
Yep. Well, that was a really nice run from Sunbin Yun. And you saw again Coach Richard Bromley applauding that. That was a great drive as well as a big start. You know, you have to have everything. You have to have the sled right, you have to have the start, but you have to be able to handle the speed. John, you could fire you and me off the hill at that speed on that sled. We wouldn't go that quickly.
No, he's an accomplished pilot. He's one of the best athletes in the field. Look at the speed. He accelerates. This is before curve 1, which, you know, he's got the best start, so he's going to have the best speed.
1.7 kilometers an hour quicker than Matt Antoine at that stage, and that's how much acceleration he builds in. Sunbin Yun has the fastest start and the lead. What about this kid, Nikita Tretyakov, another one of the fast starters in the field. Russian Rocket 2, if you like.
The pocket rocket's Nikita.
Yeah, Nikita, she was up there with the raffle with the support 495. Okay, so not quite on the mark of Sunbin Yun yet.
A couple bangs.
Nikita and her teammates were up at the top of the track supporting yesterday and again today in the men's skeleton race.
Here on run number
No scratching.
Nice quiet slide from him. 3800s back though. He's losing ground all the
He
way.
made his mistakes up top, curve 1 to 2. That's why he went from 1400s down to 3800s down. He's holding the deficiency. Now it's 45. 118.3 is one of the second best speeds. So
nice run through the chicane. Really good.
He's definitely going to be a second place run unless he crushes the wall here on the exit of the.
Wow.
No.
Turns it nicely around the corner.
He came back. Now, if you consider the fact he's 1400s behind at the start and only, what's he, 2400s behind at the bottom, 3200s behind the bottom, that's 40. So he outdrove Sun Young on the bottom, but his mistakes on curve 1 and 2, I think, cost him at least 2 tenths. He wasn't going to catch him because of the start, but look at that start time.
Yep.
Surprised at that. Usually he's a lot closer to the Korean at the start.
Well, maybe his teammate will be. This is the original Russian rocket. Russian rocket Mark 1. Alexander Tretyakov, world and Olympic champion. Last year, the winner of this race in Lake Placid.
Well, he won a few races last year.
Yes, he did. And the other race he won was in Koenigsegg in January. Only won once on this track. Only 2 Russians have won here in the last 15 years. Sergei Chulinov claimed a very rare, in fact, that might have been his only race win back in 2010-11 season for Russia.
I think Chulinov got one on Eagles one time, too. But Tretyakov, disappointing 4th in Pyeongchang. And as I remember, he was in a great position to medal and had a treacherous second run, which that track can do to you. There's no gimmies on that track. There's a couple booking hits on that track in curve 2, curve 11, 12.
Similar nature to this place as well. You take this for granted at your peril.
Well, 479 start.
Wild legs.
But he's only 300, so that 6-7 combination did not help his efforts. That's why it's red numbers. And now the question is, how close can he keep it? 10-1500s is what he wants to get in there. And 118.2, that's a half a kilometer down to the Korean.
Beat Antoine into second and Sun Young into third last year. Is he going to be able to repeat that here? 500s in front.
Whoa. What did he do there?
He found the batting line at the bottom of the track.
Now remember, the issue's almost off the sled up at 6 and 7, but the bottom part of the track, he's the first guy to find some magic line down there.
Well, look, we've known for a while with Tretyakov, it's not just the start. He really can race these things.
Yeah, that mistake up at curve 6-7 was everything for him. Look at his feet.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is not a good aerodynamic pros. Plus the toes are dragging.
Yeah, plus a big
but then this is where he pressed the afterburner, because he was in red numbers there by 10 hundredths. He was plus 10. And for him to find 500s in the bottom part of this track, that's impressive. Oh, look who else is up now.
Thomas Dukurs, the older of the 2 Latvian brothers.
Didn't they go 1-2 here last year? A couple years ago?
Martins and Thomas were 1-2 ahead of Antoine 3 races ago.
He was fourth last year.
Yeah. Martins has 4 wins on this track. Antoine has just the 1. Again, a little bit of snow being swept away.
Well, athletes still coming down the track. So Thomas,
a slip.
Thomas won't get the start. We know that. It should be high 90s.
5:03, so he's behind the 8 ball.
He's only going to be a little bit start with this guy drives tracks.
We know he can slide, but he's going to have the perfect run to have a chance to get into the top 5. He could challenge Matt Antoine, because that's the same start time that Matt Antoine had.
Alexander Tretyakov here.
Good form there, 4,400s back. Now he's really off the pace. The speed is a kilometer down, half a mile an hour, which doesn't sound like much, but in hundreds of seconds measurements, a lot. There's 4,400s to 3,300s, and the best speed we've seen from anybody right there. So he's going to come back. He could get a top 3 here.
Well, he was first and third on the final day of training.
Wow, for him to be 4,400s down at Shady and to bring it back to 3,600s with, 5th best start, 3rd best finish.
Same as Tretyakov, he found more pace lower down than he did up the top of the track.
So the other question begs, is the track getting a little greased up here? Is there some frost coming out of the track?
Or is it runner choice?
Because those last two guys down did well in the bottom part of the track. This slip here.
Yeah, kind of oversteps a little
right
bit.
There, yeah. That's in the spike twice.
Yeah.
Well, he better check this. He's got a weird angle, though. Of course, that could be the ice.
Yeah. Well, it's very hard compared to training.
Dennis.
Yeah. Designs and builds the sleds. Alexander Tretyakov leads from Sunbin Jung, and Thomas Dukurs lies third, 100th ahead of Nikita Tregebov, 10 of 31 sleds down. Axel Jung of Germany is the 11th. Our 31 starters in our first race of the Men's Skeleton World Cup. So it matches the coach shouting him off at the top. Oh, just avoids the wall, but he slid out of the grooves there somehow. Not sure how that happened.
Broke onto the podium last year, and Altenburg with a bronze medal. You know, and he had a pretty good year, 7th, even at the Pyeongchang Olympic test.
Wasn't really at its healthiest last year. Didn't start the season the fittest, and that's always tough because this is race. You don't get any long layoffs.
So he's 3,100 down, and let's see if he can find a magical line that we just saw Dukurs and Tretyakov.
The encouraging thing for me is that Axel started 489.
Yeah,
so that's a 10th behind Tretyakov. That's a good start.
Speed's decent, top 3 speed.
2300s, he's closing in. He was a 10th behind at the start. He should be 3/10 behind at the finish, and he's just held on to that. 54.03.
400s in front of
up to Thomas Dukurs, yeah.
Only 5 in front of Tretyakov. So there's three people battling for a bronze. And you got the normal cast of characters, Tretyakov and Jung at the top for the gold.
See how he shakes his head coming in there. I thought that was a good-looking run from Axel Jung.
I think there's one more guy who's going to challenge for the top 3.
He's in good form. He's in good form starting this Olympic season.
This is great
really
run. But you're right, he avoided that wall, but still turning there. Turning friction. How the lines through here. Does he get over the right side and hit the jump? Watch the sled jump. No, looks like they've taken that jump out.
Yeah.
Dr. Schneider giving him a high five, the IBSF Medical Commission Coordinator.
Alexander Gassner returned to the World Cup racing for Germany last season after 2 or 3 years away, and ended up with World Championship gold medal in the team competition. And a really good season behind him. Really threw himself back into the mix for Germany. Clearly a good summer for him because he's back with the team again.
5:02, average start. Now, only perfect lines allowed for him to put himself into a position to challenge for what I say is only a bronze medal, because those other 2 guys are on another planet. There's one more of those guys named Dukurs going to come down, is going to challenge for that gold.
German skeleton last year earned just 3 World Cup medals. Gassner got a bronze in Koenigsegg. Axel Jung got a bronze in Altenburg, where Christopher Groothair won. And then Axel Jung got silver in the World Championships behind Martins Dukurs.
2 kilometers down to the speed part of the track, you know, which is 74 miles an hour. And into the finish, through and down 7th best time. He goes ahead of Greg West by 3/10.
While we're talking Germans, want to say hi to Anja Huber, who I know is watching. She's coaching the Intercontinental Cup athletes, and they're in Calgary. Alexander Gassner in 7th place, splitting the Americans at the moment.
Once again, we currently have Alexander Tretyakov sitting at
Greg
top
West in 8th place, 1.18 seconds behind, which I don't think he could have imagined would have happened without a crash.
Well, remember yesterday they were hitting the jump over here on the right?
Yeah.
Looks like they've shaved that out. Of course, he didn't get over there. He was just right
down the middle. But you could actually see a little flurry of snow, and that's why they're in there sweeping. That's the one exposed area under that walkover bridge. Coach Eric Benotis for Great Britain. First of the GB sliders just about to hit the ice is Dom Parsons. He's the most experienced of the trio, and the other 2 are relative rookies in World Cup terms. Dom coming out after the 12 sled will benefit from the 3 sled sweep. It'll be
the reason they're down there in that straightaway, that's the spot where the blowing snow comes into the track right there. So it's got a little bit of a roof over it, but there's winds whipping up around us. I'm very thankful we're in here, Martin.
Yeah. If we could get the heating to work today like it was yesterday, then that would be even better. Small things, first world problems.
I wouldn't go. I don't think any of our cameramen want to hear that.
No, I know. And yeah, heads up to the guys out there. It's suddenly very bitter today. Yeah,
well,
it really is.
I'm sure my local friends, we can now say the golf season is over.
Yeah.
Today.
Well,
yesterday was looking okay. If it got warmer, the course is still open, but it's official.
Alexander Tretyakov, the race leader from Sunbin by a hair's breadth. Everybody else is jockeying for the medals behind them at the moment. What can Don Parsons do? Well, he's never had a medal on this track. His best World Cup performance was in Calgary 2 or 3 years back, 3 or 4 years back now.
First race of the year.
Oh, and he skids loading. Now, I was about to say, he is about as healthy as he's been since he was in the medals 4 years ago.
That's not going to help there. He's going to be really challenged here to get in the top 10.
Yeah.
And now we're going to start talking pretty quick about who's going to make the cut.
Well, there is going to be a long group of athletes who are struggling. If you're basically outside the top 15, then suddenly you're in a massive dogfight with everybody else. Looked like he stepped on the tail of his sled. We'll take a look at that in the replay, but Don Parsons has to immediately forget that and stop the blood boiling in his head and just concentrate on a nice smooth slide.
He's got good speed, and he could bring it back to a top 10. He was in 11th position.
Yeah,
perfect lines. He's got good speed. He's recovered from the incident at the start, but 8th, and that's decent. That's going to get him into the top 20 and have him move up. There's Eric Quinones, the American coach who's won medals on this track numerous times and national champion, I think, a couple times.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? 4 or 5 times. And Eric seemed to win the championship here pretty much every year when he was sliding. His last win came 2007-8 season.
Watch his foot here at the start. Now, this is repetition, repetition, repetition. They do this all the time in the start house all summer. And now as he gets on the sled, well, I guess he didn't right here.
Crossover and just catches us. Can you imagine what that? Yeah, can you imagine what that does to your ankle?
What comes off the sled?
That's a bit of tape off the side of the sled.
Yeah.
Because the sled has a tiny little, you know, like yoga mat style pad on the top.
Probably the first time he's done that in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Training.
Yeah. How he didn't turn his ankle. You could break your ankle like that in a heartbeat. Next up for Germany is their third slider, Christopher Grother. Man, you don't often see smiling at the track. He's a very thinking athlete. 7th here last year, won the first race in Europe in Altenburg in Germany.
All 3 German sleds have shown me right here in this World Cup they've improved their start times from last year.
Yeah.
You know, not by much, but a couple hundred, but a couple hundreds. You know, it's a 3-time multiplier, so if you're 200, it's better. That's 6 at the bottom, over 2 heats, it's 12. 1200s can separate you 3 or 4 spots sometimes. Yesterday in the men's bobsled race, there was 5 teams within 10 hundredths at the end of the first round. Yeah. So you think every 100 is important?
Well, and next week, you know, you're battling with hundreds rather than tenths with everybody. It's going to be insanely tight.
It's shorter, put the track out there in Park City, great competition spot. And the board is famous for ties.
Shooting for top 6 here. Axel Jung, his teammate, is third. He gets 7th behind Matt Antoine by 300ths of a second.
That's good.
Yeah.
Like that. So we now have 3 Germans in the top 8, and I think Jens Müller, the coach, very happy with that. All 3 athletes improved at the start.
Yeah, we've got a good battle on at the top of the tree. Alexander Tretyakov, 500s ahead of Sunbin Young.
But the people that are 1st, 2nd, 3rd in the competition are all the people with the 1st, 2nd, 3rd best starts.
Yeah.
So it may be something to tell you that how important the start is, even on this very challenging track that they have here in Lake Placid. He just made the chicane look easy. A lot of people making the chicane look easy today. I think the ice is better.
Maybe there's a bit more grip. Yeah. Yellow vest of our World Cup points leader. Now, we have not had a race this year, which means it's last year's World Cup champion. Oh yeah, last year's world champion as well. Martins Dukurs of Latvia. Last year's European champion also.
He only won 4 events last year. Then he won the World Championships 5. And of course, he won the pre-Olympic test. What's he got, 90 victories or something?
Well, I was about to get to that, because yesterday, actually, we didn't mention it in the women's race. The milestone for Kaylee Humphries, her 20th World Cup victory. And Dukurs passed 40. Was it the season before last or at the beginning of last season? So he's into the 40s anyway.
I think he's over 50.
We need to do some counting.
1,700's down for the top two guys, but if there's anybody who's magical on the bottom part of a skeleton course, it's this guy we call Superman, and here he goes.
Okay.
Speed, excellent, 113.1.
Now he's got to find something right down in the heart, because that's where Tretyakov and Sumbin both suddenly vaulted forwards.
119!
Wow.
Nobody's in that magical
That's
speed trap.
74.3 miles an hour.
He's a mile an hour better than anybody, so it's just hello. I don't have as much start as you guys.
Look at that, drifted out of the final corner across the line.
At the bottom a little bit. But look at this. So now we got these three guys, Dukurs, Tretyakov, and Young. No surprise. All three of them have the best starts.
Separated by a tenth. Fourth place Axel Jung is nearly 3/10 behind.
He made a mistake
place.
and the finish area.
Yeah.
I think coming off the tap before the finish, it must have cost him something.
Little smile from Dennis Dukurs.
Yeah. He doesn't even have his good start. Usually he matches their start times. So here, he's dragging his toe there.
Tiny little adjustment.
But look at the speed difference. And that's with a deficient start time to those guys.
Skids in the chicane as well.
But he's...
And out the final corner, he was drifting up to the line, yeah.
Yost Matt Lee in there from IBSF. Wayne Sleds.
From New Zealand, Reese Thornbury, RAF weapons technician. And again, I'm sure he would like to say thanks to his employers for giving him the time off to compete and race towards the Olympic Games. One of the many athletes benefiting from the experience of Coach Martin Rettel, the veteran Austrian, has got this. Oh, okay.
We're not on stress.
There's the...
40 seconds, 40 seconds.
They just gave the clock. Let's show us the clock here.
Yeah, however, Martin Rettel is a man for understanding and applying the rules. And if he's been told what the start time is, he will make sure that the jury adhere to it.
You just heard that bell, though. The bell went off.
Yeah.
There's 10. He's got to go. So Rettel thinks it's 40 seconds. He's got... No, they reset it.
Yep.
Yeah, there's some inconsistencies going on up there. So their clock up there on the right is going down. So that's expired. So they reset the clock. So...
There you go. When he's told there's a 2-minute wait, he will make sure that their 2-minute wait is applied and not hurry his athlete.
I want green light blue.
Another green light he's calling for.
Yeah. Keeping the sleds runners off the ice. You don't want them too hot, you'll be disqualified, but you don't want them too cold,
now,
because that causes more friction.
This is a little too much. The clock's a clock. You can't say, oh, reset it, please.
However, the jury have to make sure that the race is right, because otherwise, one athlete gets an incorrect start, he can have the race alone.
Oh, come on, see? So Don Haas has got some frustration going on here.
Yeah.
There's something going on with the clocks.
Yeah.
Now they can't go to go.
And Reese now every moment he waits, his muscles are getting colder and his start is getting slower. Well, and he's coming
that definitely had to affect his concentration, standing up there like that and having the coach.
5:05, that's a decent getaway. This is his second full season of World Cup racing, and he is coming into this year really fired up. Good season, a summer season of training.
A lot thinner than he was. Not that he was too heavy last year, but I asked him, he's lost 6, 8, 10 pounds.
Good looking slide so far, good from 6 to 7, but he's 5,800s back.
113 clicks speed. Oh, he's way off in speed.
Yeah.
He's 3 kilometers, mile and a half down.
Finished 12th in last year's World Cup rankings. Best race was 8th in Koenigsegg. He was 12th here. He's going to struggle to stay 12th here. He is 12th on the splits at the moment, but we're barely halfway into our field.
14th, so that's going to be a bubble right there.
Absolutely right, I think.
And, Martin Rettel's liking it. As I look down, there's 1, 2, 3, 4,
and that's
5,
only on
6,
page 1. There's more on page
7,
2. Page 2 is not going to be a challenge for him, but there's half a dozen
seven more
athletes.
people are going to challenge him in that time. So as we look at it, and these are, a little drift, but now he's got some problems. He's sideways there.
Yeah.
Didn't have the 116 speed or the 118 that we saw at Dukurs.
Again, we had warm weather, rain, hard ice, very soft ice in training. Coming to today is
2 o'clock this morning. Started to snow.
Yeah.
Winter. Hey, there's the bear.
Barrett Martineau with the grizzly bear roaring on the helmet.
Had a pretty good Canadian trials.
Yeah. First Canadian slider of the race.
Starting off on the left-handed, right-handed, run on what side of the grooves. Different techniques up there, but that one-handed start. That was initiated by Jeff Payne, the silver medalist from the 2006 games in the Calgary Start House about 2002-03. They came up with that, pushing with 2 hands, pushing with 1. Well, Jeff Payne's now coaching the Chinese team, so we'll see him in a
He's here.
Yeah.
Saw him yesterday, day before yesterday. Ooh, a little wild on the transitions here. And again, the ice is so different. The sled is responding totally differently. Think about your own car. When you drive it on normal asphalt and then you go out the next morning, it's snowed. Well, that's the difference here. There's so much difference in the grip available to the sled.
And now he's fighting for like 11, 12 position.
Well, he's right around where Reece Thornbury was.
Decent speed, though.
He was 14th here last year, and he's 12th at the line, so he's...
I think that's going to put him in the mix.
200s behind our first slider, Greg West.
Probably 16, 17 by the time he's done. But he didn't have any speed on the top part of the track. And his start, he had the 12th best start, and he had the 12th best downtime. And he's got some decent results last year. 10th, 14th in this race. Best finish was an 8th in Altenburg, a tough track like here. This did not help his efforts. This is why he didn't have great speed into the shady curve. The speed down here was better. He got into the 116 kilometer speed, which is about 74.3. You have to get into that 116 kilometer speed to have any chance.
Sled breaks into a skid there as they go over the crest. Well, next up is Spain's Ander Mirambel. His teammate yesterday, Maria Montiano, didn't make the second heat. Ander, his game really came on so strongly last year. Finished 14th in the World Cup rankings. He was 13th here last year.
His best finish ever in the World Cup. Definitely improved. Last year was the breakout year for him just to make the cut. And he did that on a consistent basis. Not so well in Korea. The Olympic test, we finished 25th, his worst.
Well, there were a couple of things in his season last year. First of all, he was in that training group with Martin Rettel, so he had, quote, teammates and people to talk things through as well as his coach. Plus, shoulder injury, knee injury over the previous years, they were all sorted out, so he came in fit as well, and that is, for any sportsman, so important.
Fitness in November is one thing. Fitness in February is another.
Yeah, got to keep fit. He started 18th. He's driving his way into the field. 16th at the moment, ahead of Nick Timmings. Can he overhaul Reece Thornbury? Not quite. So 16th spot.
It's going to be tough.
Martin Rettel. Yeah, he is definitely in the drop zone. Well, with the Olympic season coming on, we've got a whole host of new athletes or occasional World Cup performers who have joined the field, and some rookies and debutants as well. We already had Kim of Korea, who'd never slid in the World Cup before. Anders shaking his head, he knows. Well, listen, training was on such different ice every day. Run a choice and your line. It's a bit of a lottery today.
And it's early in training, he crashed. Yep. And that had to make him think. He's probably got a few black and blues. You crash on this track, you don't walk away from here without some kind of momentum on your body.
Yeah. Track hold at the top for Canada's Dave Krzyzewski. All the Canadians and the British as well wearing the poppies as we come up to the 11th of the 11th. Armistice Day. So Grizz will wait for the track to be prepared for him. Some stunning helmets, some stunning sled art as well. Just take a look at that. All the Canadians really putting a lot of thought.
Canadian girls yesterday, it's a beautiful artwork in their sleds and helmets.
Yeah. And again, the grizzly bear. Grizz is just easier to spell than Cheshin. So, yeah, he came in with the nickname already applied. I'm sure when he was in primary school, the teachers got a couple of syllables into his name and went, Gret, here, sir.
Hey, so the between him,
Jane Channel on the right,
Thornberry that just came down, these two guys look like bobsleighers.
Yeah.
They're the two guys in the field that got a little bit more thickness to them.
Well, both former rugby players. Jane Channel there in the headband. Rita Varche, Elizabeth Varche's mum. In fact, all the Canadian girls are up there watching at the top of the track. The men were supporting them yesterday.
So Grizz off and running and, start.
5:06, that's a good getaway.
17th in this event last year. His best finish of the season was 11th on his home track in Whistler. Didn't do too bad, though, in Pound Chunk. 12th.
Yep.
Finished up in Pound Chunk.
He's got height, he's got strength, he's got a decent speed as well. 12th at the start, he's into 11th place now on the splits.
He's a reckless slider, though, which sometimes, smooth is not fast sometimes. The bobsled world used to, when I was growing up, used to see people come down and hit everything in sight like the Swiss and be the fastest at the bottom. So if you steer, you create friction. If you let it go.
Good run through the chicane. He slipped a little away to 14th spot. This is kind of the second tier, isn't it? We're 12 to 16, 14th at the line. Sneaks in front of Kim of Korea.
Behind his teammate, 100th behind John Farrow.
Yeah.
How good is John Farrow? John Farrow really improved. Anybody on top of this board, we've seen all the rest of these names. Yep. The only person in top 14 that we're surprised to see there, John Farrow. So good for him. But Grizz, he should be right near the bubble. Should be okay though. Yeah. This didn't help. This is got in there too late. Hard hit there, and then he's fighting to get control before he gets into the whiteface curve, which he does get on early.
Athlete and sled are weighed. There's Minima and Maxima. And actually, he's into the Ben Sanford category where, because of the size of the athlete, he's already above the maximum weight. So there's another sliding scale that applies. I don't understand it. I just know it's there. Jerry Rice for Great Britain. Big smile as he makes his World Cup debut.
Was he in the Worlds last year?
He was in the Worlds last year. And the British skeleton men's team welcoming Jerry Rice.
Boy, really thin grip on his handle there. Some kind of 90s.
5:03, that's a decent getaway.
I bet he's been here a few times in ICC or North America's Cup.
Yeah. And one of the things about the Lake Placid track is it opens early and it stays open late as well. And it's very easy to get training time on. So lots of young athletes come here right at the start of their career because it's open after the season finishes.
One of the reasons why Lake Placid beat St. Moritz for the 2021 World Bobsled Skeleton Championships was the acknowledgement that, the teams know that they can come here and use the Lake Placid track.
Yeah. Well, he was 9th at the start. He was up to 7th at Shady on the splits. He's still in 9th position. Little while down at the bottom.
Out of control.
Carry the speed. Jerry Rice to the line. Oh, 13th spot.
Lost 5 places on the bottom.
Right in that mix. It all got a little away from him. But for a first slide in the World Cup.
He's tied with John Farrow. Wow. He's 100th ahead of Grizz. 200th behind Barrett Martineau. And 400th behind Greg West. So pretty good, but boy, his wild finish, he had it going pretty good here in Shady.
Exit was just a little
shot effect got out too early there, and that cost him some stress at 70 plus miles an hour. And then down here into the 16, 17, 18 combination. There's 18 crossover, 19, and he's airborne off the sled.
Well, listen, the good thing is he's going to make the field, and there's stuff he can tidy up. Lots of stuff he can tidy up. Martis Dukurs, Alexander Tretyakov, Sumbing Young separated by a 10th. Everybody else in a massive fight. Away goes John Daly of the USA, returning to World Cup action last year, fighting his way back in, having decided walking away from the sport after the disappointment of Sochi. Was not the end of it.
Very suspect start time for him.
Yeah, 5:09 getaway. He was off the blocks almost before the cameras got to him.
He's a better starter than Matt Antoine, and Matt Antoine had a 5:05. So there's 900s there. What happened? I don't know.
All right, here we go. Little skiddy, 6 to 7. He's into 13th place, driving himself into this field from a 16th place start. Long drift there. Lots of work. The hips swinging the legs again. Really working hard for control here. Shoots the chicane nicely. 13th place, which is 10 further back than he'd like to be at this stage of the season, but at least he is in the World Cup squad.
Okay.
10th place.
Starting off with the 16th best start. There's something wrong there about that start time. Something, he should be better than that. He's a good starter. He's a top 4 or 5 starter. He should be in the 90s. So something wrong there. I'll have to try and find out what happened. Maybe he just was conservative.
Maybe there's just a little hurry up going there, and he wasn't quite on his marks as he would like to be. Zapland with the sled.
You know, coming out of that exit of shady slingshot into these three-corner labyrinths, that's the bottom part of the track where you...
Sled was breaking away from him all the way down. It was very loose. Maybe that'll come into play in the second heat. He might have a little more control. Matthias Cookeburger on the right, and his coach, Mickey Grumberger, has had lots and lots of race success. Talks a little bit about the world champions that are now coaching.
He's one of them.
He, Andy Schmidt, yeah, there's a host of them now.
That was back when it was really a reckless sport, pre-Olympic designated sport in the 80s and 90s. And those guys, they went down the old bobsled track here. They had the 95, or I think it was 96 world championships here. And boy, that was dicey watching them come off the finish curve here in Lake Placid or off a zigzag.
On the left-hand side of your shot there, you saw a red winter jacket, Team Austria. That was yesterday's race winner in the women's skeleton opener, Janine Flock. There she is, putting the hood up.
In fact, that's the better half for Guggenberger.
Yeah, they make a great team. And Ashley Pittaway there in the blue GB jacket made her second World Cup start. She raced in Koenigsegg last year, her debut. 17-year-old addition to the British team. And Matthias Guggenberger, I've got to think this may well be his last season as well. I think Janine might go on again for another Olympic cycle. But Googie, pretty fit this year, not entirely. Had cruciate ligament surgery just after the trip to Pyeongchang. In fact, he wasn't alone. He had a message from Thomas Dukurs saying, I'm getting the same thing done. So he went to Innsbruck and had it done in the same hospital. He said they were racing each other around the corridors on crutches.
Same rehab program. That's the beauty of the sport. There's such a camaraderie.
Yeah.
Googie is, you know, he's had more injuries than anybody I know on tour, including throwing his back out, getting out of a car 2 years ago in one of their first or second World Cups of the year. And then, of course, the knee surgeries last year.
8th at the start. He's now in 9th place on the split.
Excellent.
Yeah. He's got a really, this is a really neat and tidy looking run. Some of them are all a crash from top to bottom. This is look like he's actually driving the sled. 9th place.
Well, considering what he did last year, you know, he didn't make the cut in the first 2 events. His best finish last year was a 14th twice in his track and Eagles and Koenigsegg. And in fact, 22nd at the Olympic test. So Googie will take that.
One of the key things about this run is that he had the 8th fastest start. It's been years since he's had a top 10 start. Years.
Yeah, speeds down here were in the top 5 or 6, which, you know, anytime you come in with a 8th best start, 9th place finish, that's about right.
Yeah. Well, I think he's about to have the season of his career, and it's just the time he needs to have it as well. Checking the runner temperature there, the weights and everything else you saw. Jack T. Trey Thomas for Great Britain.
He's laughing at what you just said.
That's his You know, he came up through the training ranks. That got applied to him fairly quickly. Suicide tea trays is what these are commonly referred to in the UK.
Let's see what kind of start that he can put up. 96, anybody in the 90s, competitive, top 7. So obviously, Trey here knows how to get the sled off the line. Let's see if he can negotiate the tight, quick turns of this challenging Lake Placid track. They call it the Olympic Sports Center.
Finished in 25th place here last year and in the season opener in Whistler. Those were the only 2 times he didn't make the cut.
Well, the reason they call this Olympic Sports Center is the biathlon range, the cross-country range, right on the parking lot areas.
I know his former training partners and his former coach, Mark Wood. They're all watching the development team in Lillehammer, trying to get some inspiration for their races at the weekend. So, good afternoon to all you guys.
20th place, he's right in the bubble.
21st at the line, so he is out. He's missed the cut here as well. So he, Nick Timmings and Riet Graf are all out, and Ander Murambel is on the bubble with Reese Thornbury.
Well, with the 7th best start time for him to finish 21st, I think the coaches are going to evaluate his setup because worst case scenario with that start and his experience, he should get down there in 15th place at least.
It's only his 2nd World Cup season.
His best finish last year was his 16th in Winterberg. Didn't make the cut here on Lake Placid last year either. So, well, he looks at his rearview mirror and moves on to Park City.
Not joining the list of his favorite tracks.
He'll do much better in Park City.
Now we've got another World Cup debutant, Vladislav Marchenkov of Russia. And again, Yelena Nikitina there at the top of the track with, and there is Yulia Kanakina, the junior world champion. Trying to get a bit of noise going for their teammates as he makes his first World Cup start here in Lake Placid. And again, starting outside of the top 20 start draw, you're in a big hole already. 9th fastest start, you know, that's
surprised. I know, but I'm surprised usually the Russians, the Russian females are all the top 6 at the start. And this is the first Russian male we've seen that can't start in the top 5 or 6. 27 back.
Well, it's his first World Cup start. I'm not sure exactly how much knowledge he's got of Lake Placid either, so he may have just a few nerves. 9th at the start, he's driven his way into 7th already. Wow. Yeah, there we go.
We've been on the ICC and America's Cup tours here, you know, Placid, which hosts those events on an annual basis. Speed is not bad. And, hey, for a debut here, this is going to be a top 10 or 12.
There's an awful lot of sliders that would happily take the top 7.
So we have that hurt him right there.
All right, but 11th at the line.
11th is good. That last hit at the finish, he was in 7th place to 9th. And then to finish up with that hit at the finish, got him all the way into 11th.
Well, he's just in front of John Daly and Don Parsons, so there's an awful lot of experience around him. He's behind Matthias Cookeburger and Alexander Gassner, so he's in some pretty good company there. Not bad for a rookie.
He's got the same build though as Tretyakov and the other Russian rocket. Good lines. I mean, this cost him there. Here's what really hurt him. Too high on 19. Bang. There's the finish line right at that Omega clock. Head way up, and he went from 9th to 11th.
Well, he's in being weighed and measured. Temperature of the runners being checked. The deal there is basically warm runners melt a micro layer of ice,
I think
and
they
help with
at the top
lubrication.
of the track, right? And that's all way down
testing
there.
at the bottom.
Well,
there is Jeff Payne, the man who you were talking about, who pioneered the single-handed start, coaching these Chinese athletes. And this is Wei Jianqiang. So ni hao, everybody watching in China.
Well, the Chinese, they've got a number of coaches. They got Manuel Mahara, the world champion in 2011, coaching their bobsled program. In luge, they have, the name escapes me, he used to coach the Americans. He's an Austrian guy, so the Chinese have went out and got the foreign influence into the sport, and Jeff Payne right there. Silver medal in an unbelievable 4th run where he was on his side out of the Monte Curve in Torino, and he ended up 2nd to his teammate Duff Gibson, who won the gold. The Canadians went 1-2 at that Olympic Games.
Well, we met Wei Yang Geng in the World Championships in Koenigsegg just missed the final run. He was 21st.
Tall,
but he's got the frame, hasn't he?
He's got a Jeff Payne frame, really.
Yeah. He's long and lean.
502's decent start.
There you go. And so another quad learning these tracks and really delving into the art of driving the sled. When they get to the games in China, he is going to be a real threat.
Well, I asked Jeff Payne about him, and Payne says, I knew from day one he just gets it. And, you know, can you imagine the communication? I mean, first of all, it's hard to communicate with somebody about the sport when you're speaking English. He's got to do it through translators. And asked him how his Chinese was. He shook his head.
About as good as our Russian. Ooh, a little high on the exit. But he's 10th place start, but hanging in there. He's in 8th place up to 7th place. That's not hanging in there. 21st in the World Championships is hanging in there. This is a really good run.
Hello, China.
Now, don't forget, he'll have done a lot of training runs in North America, but 9th place on his World Cup debut.
Look at the people he beat.
Yeah.
Wow!
And he's only just getting started.
Hello. Welcome to the sport of skeleton, China.
He's got a great sheepish grin on him, and if that doesn't bring out a smile, then he's got very high standards.
Jeff Payne called me from St. Moritz a year. We were in Europe someplace, and this guy was on the Europa Cup and said, you can't believe this guy just finished 13th. I've got an athlete who's really going to be good in this sport. This was a year and a half ago. Now look at this. I mean, wow. I would have bet a lot of money he wouldn't have been in the top 10.
Well, you know, one race that we've seen him in, and he was outside the top 20, so you'd have had good money on that.
Sport is definitely going to Asia.
Well, this is another of our Asian sliders, Hiro Takahashi. He's the #1 Japanese men's skeleton athlete.
Coaching him down there.
Yeah. Fabulous looking helmet as well.
Kyle Tress is American. He won the World Cup Tour last year. He's coaching the Japanese program now. Takahashi, the baseball player, who, you know, the start, 21st best start. Hero S. Oh, we just saw the Japanese or the Chinese guy come down. Don't think there's not some good Asian championship building between China, Korea, and Japan now.
Last year's race, Hiro Takahashi was 18th. His current coach, Kyle Tress, was one spot behind him in the finishing order in 19th here.
Well, he's racing himself into an 18th spot on the bubble at the moment.
It's coming out of the 26th start draw, so he is pushing his way in. Yeah, we've lost Reese Thornbury and Ander Mirambel, and we're going to lose.
Should be enough.
No,
right on the bubble.
He's in at the moment by 100 behind Dave Cheshin.
100, yeah, ahead of Sir Grizz. Might. I don't know. He's still got some athletes coming up here.
Yeah, we got some with local knowledge. Joe Cicchini, Alex Hansen, Kevin Boyer, I think, might be the threat.
Yeah. I would agree with you there. Boyer can start.
But Hiro is in as of now.
Two-time Olympian. You can tell he's experienced. Little skid there on the exit of the chicane. Whether or not he's going to be in the second run, he's going to have to wait and see.
Yep. Same as the rest of us. We have 5 sleds to go and no places free in the field. Another great looking helmet livery for Calgary cop Joe Cicchini. Sole Italian representative in pre-season training a couple of days before the Italian selections. Teammate Mattia Gaspari tore his Achilles. He is out for the season.
Too bad.
That means for the games. Yeah.
Gaspari was top 10 in the Worlds last year.
Michaela Widmer, former skeleton slider of this parish, is coaching Joe at the moment. He's brought her along to do the team manager bit and just to kind of help him focus on the sliding. He's had a bit of a season of an off-season of injury, Joe, as well.
Joe's had a lot of injuries last couple of years. You know, he goes home and doubles up work, and you know, Calgary police have given him enough flexibility where he can come and train, but to try and do both, that's pretty difficult.
5:05 was the 15th fastest start, but he's slipping down the order.
17.
He could really do with making the cut here. I mean, everybody could, but he's out at the moment. 21st at the split.
Lost some time in the exit of Shady.
And he's kind of working. He's representing Italy, but the Italian coaches are all in Italy. And so he is kind of ploughing his own furrow here, which is a fairly isolating business.
He was disqualified last year in Whistler, I think, for a bib violation.
Yeah.
And then got 20th in this race last year. So made the cut last year, did not make it this year. This year's a bigger field.
Yeah.
But didn't compete the rest of the season, including did not get to Korea. Start. Oh, look at his left leg. Look at him drag his left leg there. That, look at, oh, he's limping here. Look,
yeah.
Look, he's doesn't look like he exploded off the blocks there with the efficiency that you need. Well, he had the 15th best start though, so that's.
Yeah. Well, on to Whistler, and he'll have to see how that progresses. Snorre Pedersen with the sled. And again, like the Mickey Grunbergers of this world, he's a real old school slider. His wife Maya returned to sliding last year and started the World Cup campaign yesterday. She didn't make the second heat. And Alex Hansen is their male hope in the men's skeleton competition. I think their chances of having both athletes selected to go to the games, well, the Norwegian are going to be really quite an uphill struggle.
The Norwegian selection process, you know, the demands. We saw a Norwegian bobsled team, I think it was way back, it might have been 2006 or 2.
Arnfinn Christensen,
yeah. Who's now coaching luge. He's a trainer for some luge teams.
Yeah.
He finished 10th in St. Moritz, and that qualified them for the game. So the Norwegians, like the Dutch, have strict qualification procedure. They don't want you just to go to the games to march in the parade. They want you to go and challenge to win a medal.
Alex Hansen, Norway. You think he's got any Viking blood in him? That's certainly representing his heritage. Wow,
great start.
Just freezes up against the wall.
5th best start.
That's an excellent getaway from Alex Hansen.
Probably doesn't have the experience to bring it down. And
he's had a few North America's Cup races in the ICC as well. He's only been a very occasional performer in the World Cup level.
7, 8, 9 in the
flipped off there, 6, 7, 11th place.
All right, this could be good enough for him to make the field.
I don't know. Dropping more. Gonna need to be smooth here. Speed way off. He's 17th. Well, the way things are going, I think he's going to be
into the danger zone.
Right here. He's going to have to be perfect here.
Can he stay in? It's him or Hiro Takahashi. Wow, 17th to 25th.
Yeah, that hit didn't help. I don't know if 158 to get to. Yeah, he lost 10 hundredths on that hit, so he was losing it all the way down. And look how far he does not get all the way up with that start time. But hey, Alex, next week at Park City, I bet you he makes the field with that shorter track at Park City. More emphasis on the start. Look at the leg drive and turnover, and you know the 5th best start time, and he has the 5th best speed. Taps the wall there, almost on the entrance to one, then down in the chicane.
Well, we've seen him a couple of times in World Championships, and I was thinking he'd raced World Cup as well, but in fact, this is his World Cup debut.
He was at the Worlds last year.
Yeah, he's done the last couple of Worlds, but here's Kevin Boyer of Canada now. He does have a shot at making the field. He's got a fast start, and he knows this track. Boyer competed in the entire World Cup season last year. He was 19th here, 24th here last year in the World Cup race. But a 4.99 start puts him in the frame, doesn't it?
Yeah, his best finish of the year, 17th in Codex, 17th in the Whistler.
Oh, little late flop. 9th at the start, 14th place.
Boy, you can see the speed just come out. He's gone to 15th.
Good exit out of Shady too. Now he needs to tidy up the labyrinth. Not bad out of 12.
No more mistakes allowed. He's in 15th. That's good line. 16. That's good speed. That speed tells me he's got a chance.
I think he's in
the top 20.
Hiro Takahashi may be out here.
I agree with you.
Needs to make sure he's clean in the end. Just fringes towards 15th. He's in.
That speed that he had, 116 kilometer speed, which is 74.3 miles an hour. Anybody with 116 speed, Alex Hansen had 114 speed. So that's the key.
Best Canadian.
Really?
He's 15th. Barrett Martineau 17th.
Wow.
Dave Grishcheshin currently
on the bubble.
20th. Yep. Yeah, boy.
Good job, Kevin. This didn't help. Curve 3 to 4.
Well, without a couple of little errors like that, he might have been top 12.
Yeah, so this was decent. He had good speed here. His head's down as much as he can keep it down with the challenge in front of him. That's as good as anybody. That's why. That's why he's in the race. That exit into Kreisel or into the chicane.
Well, now and again another rare nation representative. This is Vladislav Herachik from the Ukraine, and this is his World Cup debut as well. Met him at last year's World Championship in Koenigsegg.
Oh, that's quite a story talking to his father. Now this is a boxer. This guy here by trade. He's another big guy. He looks like a bobsleigh. I asked his dad right there, why isn't he in bobsleigh? No money available.
Yeah.
This was the easier sport.
His dad slid as a German bobsleigh, didn't he?
I don't think so. No, maybe Russian. But anyway, he also talked about his son is freshman in school in Ukraine and in college, and his major is physics.
Another one too clever to be doing this stuff.
And I'm like, why are you waiting? No, he wants to be in the Olympic Games. And of course, Ukraine, this is the only representative. And he's learning.
Yeah. And making his World Cup debut. So he's obviously going to try and compete the entire World Cup season.
Good line, 1:15.6 isn't too bad, but I don't see him sliding into any top 20 position here. But
yeah, now it's all about the learning, isn't it? And this is the preparation, hopefully, for going on.
Bottom a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'll say that he's another one of them guys who might way too smart to be involved in the sport.
So Vladislav Herashkevich.
Look how far he comes up. See, a lot of guys don't even get way up near the shadow back there.
Makes his World Cup debut here.
And he's a big boy. He's not a small guy. He's a little bit like the Grizz. He could be definitely a bobsled push driver. Only 20 years old. He might be the youngest guy in the field. Head up quite a bit. He got through the chicane pretty good.
30 sleds down, 1 to go. It's been a long wait to get on the ice for these guys. We started our heat at 8:30 local. It's now 9:45 Eastern Daylight Time.
What time's the second run start?
10.
Whoa, so
10:15. 10:15.
So he is going to have to qualify in the top 20 and be up there and have to go again.
Yeah.
Which isn't too bad of a scenario, because some of these guys are going to have an hour and 15 minutes between the time they have to warm up to they have to go back out for warming up for the second run.
Yeah. Well, that's a little bit of recovery time that Ronald Alderset won't have if he makes the field for Switzerland. Just seen his teammate Riet Graf a little earlier on. Riet is currently in 30th spot. Ronald with more experience. This is 3rd full season in the World Cup.
2 World Cup appearances last year in Whistler and here in Lake Placid, 27th in both. So if I'm Hiro Takahashi at the bottom, I'm thinking I'm in the race.
Yep.
Takahashi, excuse me.
Yeah, he didn't do the full season last year, absolutely right. He did the North American trial. It was Marco Rohrer who did the full season. Marco not here.
Marco's one of the guys too smart to be involved in the sport. Look at the start.
4.90. That's why they call him the quads. Now, can he drive himself into the field off an equal 5th fastest start? He's got the ammunition he needs there. Can he hang on to it? 6th on the splits.
Well, the secret is going to be 112, 111 high-speed kilometers.
Secret is holding that speed through the Devil's Highway to Shady 2. Where is he now on the split?
Way up, 108 speed. He's going to drop more. He has no chance with that speed right there. He's going to be 24.
Down the labyrinth, crushes the wall in the chicane, and that, I'm afraid, is the end of it. He was 26 coming down there.
Too much steering before Shady's. You got to have 112 kilometers, 73, 4 miles an hour to have a chance over there, and he didn't have that.
Beats out his teammate Reed Graff, but he is in 30th place and doesn't make the second heat. He's got an excellent start, but clearly couldn't keep the speed on the sled all the way down this demanding track.
He'll make the cut. I bet you he makes the cut next week in Park City, because that's an easier track where the start has such a major emphasis on your downtown. Here, down. That's too low there.
Tries it out too early.
And then he comes
hits
out
the wall.
So that caused the problems. Came left, came
second,
right.
third.
What do we call this? Pinball.
Fourth hit.
Pinball, was it?
More hits than Elvis, I'm afraid, in the chicane there.
But with the start, he has a chance in this sport with that start time.
And another great sled belly pan. Look at that. What a fabulous,
beautiful
bit of livery on that. Now he's got to work on the helmet. Needs to work on the slide as well here in Lake Placid. Our World Cup champion, our world champion last year, Martins Dukurs, is leading the field, adding or looking to add a 5th win on the Lake Placid track to his illustrious CV. But it's not going to be easy. He won't have it all his own way. We have a top 10 covered by the top 3 covered by 1/10 of a second. And behind, the battle for 4th place is anybody's. Axel Jung currently hangs on to it ahead of Thomas Dukurs. But for the medals, you have to think, unless Nikita Tretyakov finds a shortcut, it's Dukurs, Tretyakov and Jung who will squabble amongst themselves. Geng of China in 9th place is an astonishing result. Marshenkov of Russia in 12th, equally a big, big run from him. And there's a few further down the order who have got some pace to find. One tie in the field, John Farrow and Jerry Rice, and the cut is below Dave Kreshcheshin. So from Hiro Takahashi on down, those are spectators for the second heat. And you can be too. Join us at 10:15 local, which is 15:15 Greenwich Mean Time, wherever you are. Thank you for being with us for the first heat of the men's skeleton. From John Morgan, the FIBT IBSF TV crew here, I'm Martin Hayden saying join us again for the deciding runs. 10:15, 15:15 GMT. We'll see you then.